Hey, I'm Matthew Timler with the Here For You podcast. Before we kick things off, mark your calendars for Saturday, July 12th from 11 to 4 p.m. because Plug Light Bulb Electrical Services is rolling out our second annual car wash event benefiting breast cancer awareness. Swing by for a squeaky clean car. Holy cow, I'm just reading this. Snag some exclusive merch and know that every single penny goes straight to supporting breast cancer awareness. Come out and help us drive out cancer. See you all there.
Awesome.
Please come. It's an amazing event. We all have a lot of fun. And no, we will not be shirtless. Plenty of people have asked us to, and we're not doing it. So,
well, there was Daisy Dukes last year.
But we're not doing the shirtless. I wanted to do strictly Speedos, but they wouldn't let that fly. So, okay. Today's podcast is going to be about horror stories in the electrical field. We've all experienced it. We've all felt it. We've even potentially done some of it. First question. What's the absolute worst or most dangerous electrical situation you've ever walked into, either residential or commercial? First one to raise their hand gets to go first. Wow.
I'll do it. I'll go. I'll take it.
Okay.
Geez, I just turned IW, and
What does that mean? For anybody who doesn't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, inside wireman. So my boss says, hey, meet me at Future Foam. Future Foam is this big industrial place on the west side. I get there, and he wants to change over. He's tapping into a 2,000 amp service. We're doing it live, no safety gear. But he threw down cardboard. And I said, you know, and I know, but I'm still young. I'm like, well, what's going on? He goes, oh, you'll be fine. Just get in the cardboard, trust your boots. And I'm like, bro, and it's all opened up, and it's just sitting there ready to just kill someone. And I'm like, okay, boss. And he goes trailing off, and I'm getting geared up to, like, die here. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I mean, I was working up the vigor to do it, but the safety measures just weren't there. And he comes back and he goes, you ain't got that done yet? And I go, I just don't feel comfortable doing this without it being shut down, or at least a mat, some gloves, something. He was like, step out of the way. He jumps on there and just tapes up his screwdriver and just gets in there. I'm like, bro, okay. So, that was pretty sketchy for me. 2,000 amps live, tapping into that with no safety. Yeah, that was a good one for me. What do you got? What do you got, Zach?
I think I've grown numb to it. It's just seen so much of it over the years. It's hard to pinpoint it.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, it was for electrical, but they didn't shut. We were installing a machine, and before they're ready to shut the old one down, we were, doing some of the prep work, getting our hangers ready and all that stuff. And we had to get to a spot that there was no way to get up there. Boom lift wouldn't fit. There's a big steam line there. They're still running. There's steam running through that line. It was in Texas. It's already like 110 degrees out.
Ugh.
I had to stand on that steam line to get threaded rod drop down. Like, my boots
were just burning,
melted to the steam line.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was kind of dangerous. I got yelled at for that one.
What do you got?
I'm trying not to incriminate myself because all the ones that are coming to mind, like, it's stuff that I've done.
Oh boy.
I'm trying to figure out. I remember this one time, I'm not going to say the specific utility, but it was like winter, and this homeowner's like heat and everything was this an install or like an installation? I guess yours was kind of, this works. So I replaced the entire mast and everything, and I called the utility to reconnect, and they're like, yeah, we're like 7 days out. And this like lady is like on an oxygen tank, and I'm like, you can't do that.
No.
But it's in the middle of a snowstorm too, like blizzard, like whiteout conditions. And then they're like, you know what? You can connect it if you want. And I'm like, I don't have the gear for that. Oh, and he's like, well, then she's going to have to wait. So I was like, whatever. I trudged up on the roof. I didn't have any rubber gloves or anything.
Put those Romex connectors on there.
No, I used split bolts,
Wow, that's better.
which was even worse because they're totally exposed.
Right.
And like,
You didn't tape them?
well, after, how am I going to tape it
Right.
before?
Oh, I know. Working on them, yeah.
So like I put the load side in first, and then like, or
The
the
neutral.
mass side, and I started with the neutral. But all I did was I just put a lot of Super 33 on my channel locks, and hoped to God that it didn't.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, it worked out, but like I was so terrified in the moment because it's snowing outside. I have just tape between me and whatever. The fuse pops at 10,000 amps.
Well, they
so
say 2 wraps is good for 20,000 volts. You know, like,
it doesn't feel that way when
So
you're
you did about
2
10?
inches.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I think I probably did about 2, honestly. But it was sketchy.
Was it 33 plus?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just held on to the split bolt, and I was shaking the entire
Oh, yeah.
time I was sticking
Oh, yeah.
the wire in there. I'm like hoping, please don't arc across the
slip
snowflakes
out,
or
right.
something. He's like, dude, I'm just getting pelted, but it all worked out. And then you're right. I rubber taped it. I taped it. I just taped the heck out of
Saved
it.
that poor lady's life.
Well, maybe I saved her life. I don't know. I probably put my life in a lot more jeopardy than hers was. She
Right.
could probably go to urgent care.
Right.
But I would say that's probably one of the more dangerous things that I've experienced.
That's
I also
dangerous,
we did a shutdown one time, and it wasn't a true shutdown. And, actually, I do have a really cool story. Again, I'm not saying who the utility was this. We had set a new service at an airport, and it was like a 3,000 amp service, probably 20 feet away from the transformer.
Oof.
And me and another gentleman, I was really green, and I'm on like hour number 14.
Oh, boy.
And my wires are stuck in the LB, and like I'm not told, hey, make sure this thing doesn't score itself along the LB, like alleviate pressure.
Yep.
And I'm just kicking this thing
God,
into the LB, and I get her in.
Just
I was
gouging the
proud.
wire.
I was so proud.
Take that insulation off. It'll fit
Just tear
better.
it off. The oil rating
And
doesn't matter.
I think it's around like 8 p.m. and they go in, and the utility puts in fuse number 1. We're good, and we're all standing like we've all cleaned up everything. We're about to go away. Fuse number 2 goes in, and it sounds like a bomb went off. Oh no! The bottom trough gets blown off the wall. There's a crater in the side of the building
What
that's
happened?
like it went phase to phase.
Oh, no.
And
Through the fuse?
that fuse was rated at 50,000 amps
my God.
before it would blow.
Oh, my God.
So it blew a huge hole like out in the ground. And
Did anyone see this happen?
we were all standing 100 feet
Pretend like,
away.
yeah, that's supposed to do that. Kind of dust off. Yeah, it's all good.
You stayed in the field after that? Like, you stayed in this career after.
Right.
And so the worst part about it, and I felt awful for this utility guy. So like, if you ever felt a subwoofer, that's what it felt like when this thing went off.
Oh, yeah.
And our ears were ringing, and we're 150
Sounds like
feet
someone
away.
claps you in the ears.
And we go outside, and we see like this absolute chaotic mess. He stood there in his full arc suit, just ghost white,
Oh, my God.
and just trembling. He had pissed and shit himself.
He did not.
And it was a crazy experience.
God.
And we had to have a new technician come out there, and then we
Well,
were
you
stuck
just-
there for another 12 hours redoing
You
it.
must have been just dumbfounded. Like,
I had no idea what happened.
So that was
Right.
all because you ripped
Yes.
the insulation
I blew
off
up
the
a
wire?
transformer
Yeah.
once. I blew up a
It
transformer
was
once similar to
100%
that.
me and the other gentleman from kicking it into the LB.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
we
the
went
other
phase to
gentleman should
phase.
have. Yeah, the other gentleman.
We were
probably
both
should have.
helpers.
Right when you kicked it, it did that?
No.
When you were hooking up
We
the
didn't
fuses?
realize we scored it through the LB.
Oh, gotcha.
And we
Yep.
basically peeled all the
Yes.
insulation off of 2 conductors and just put them together. And the
What
LB
size wire you working with?
500s.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So imagine 2 500 coppers just touching
Just
each other.
clapping. Yep.
And as soon as you put the fuse in, it was
Done.
We didn't get to see any of the arc. I was kind of upset about that
Yeah,
because I
right,
didn't get to
right.
see the explosion. We just saw the aftermath of like
my God.
what happened on the inside, and then the huge crater in,
Was
the,
it just
in
burnt?
the dirt.
Just burnt up?
Honestly, not really.
Really?
everything else around it got hit a lot more. Like
Jeez.
we salvaged probably 80% of the pipe, and like we had to pull all new feeders, obviously. But
You can just put tape on them.
Just tape it up.
Yeah.
33 plus.
You know, you get a nick in a wire, you just put some tape on it.
Little tape.
I think the nicks on there were pretty substantial.
Probably.
I just can't believe our journeyman like never checked it or anything. Like,
Or the lineman. I mean, that's on him too. Normally they do.
yeah, he didn't even do it. That's what blows my mind. Is like he didn't even do a continuity check. Just comes there.
He's like, yeah, just slam these in.
If I would have seen a couple of kids being the ones doing it, I would have been.
He
Yeah, they
didn't
gotta
see
do
it,
a
though.
continuity
He just
check.
saw the final. I know, but he didn't do it.
That's
100%.
weird.
Like he didn't talk to you before.
Right. You weren't kicking on this, were you?
No, I honestly
No.
don't. I don't understand how it happened because you're 100% right. They normally
They
just
always
do a
do that
continuity check.
continuity check, yeah.
But if you want to ask Gus about it, you can. He was the one who was
Uh-oh,
helping me.
we're dropping names now. Uh-oh.
Okay.
I thought we were getting fired. I thought for sure. I was like, my career's done.
Oh,
I just made
boy.
the utility guy poop himself.
I'm surprised
He's calling that
didn't
one
get
in.
fired either.
Dude,
like, for you.
he made us like sign an affidavit. Basically, I don't remember what the document was, and I don't even remember. I think the foreman was. Actually, I'm not going to name.
No,
that
don't
guy.
name
Yeah,
names, but I think I know where it was and
yeah,
who it probably was then too.
yeah, it was pretty gnarly. So that was a pretty interesting experience.
That's awesome.
Pretty much whenever the tape comes out and you're applying it to your tools, you're probably doing something pretty sketchy.
Yeah, I've definitely been
done
there.
it.
Done
That's
that.
how
Been
I
there, done that.
Well,
Where you put it on your socket extender.
Oh, I
wrapped
still
the
have
whole-
it on my whole socket.
yeah, I wrapped the whole wrench.
your beater screwdriver.
had,
You
like-
got that all taped on.
Friend
And
of
there's
mine's
notches
place.
in the side of it.
You know, that's actually OSHA can fine you.
Yeah,
for
they
that.
can.
Past
They see that in your
experiences.
bag.
Oh, I know. There's some sketch.
Just tell them it's
Oh,
for
if they see it in your
ergonomics.
bag?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they can fine you.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I found that out. So our safety guy told us that, and I'm like,
Oh, my God.
my
Throw
wrench
that
is
on
gone.
there.
I was like, that's not mine. I found
my
that. I
God.
felt like I was getting interrogated by the police. Like those
my
drugs weren't mine.
It's 2 wraps.
Well, we've always been able to do same day disconnects, reconnects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't do it for 3-phase customers.
No.
No.
That's how I found out, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm wrapping this thing up
Oh, boy.
because I need this shut down today, and they wouldn't come do it. So
Yeah, I chickened out on that
Yeah.
one.
No, I've done a lot of sketchy stuff. Johnny Boy has put me in some sketchy situations.
Oh, Johnny? I could imagine. Just do it.
I can remember reaching behind a 2,000 amp service at a Fleet Farm, like crawling behind it. He's like, "Yeah, just get down in there. You'll be fine." And then like later on when safety all became a bigger thing, then he would like never do it. But I can just remember earlier in my career, I can remember the hair standing up on my arm from like being close to it. And I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah. You can just feel the power.
and it's like,
You ever been hit where you can feel the AC waves?
no. I felt like a chattering in my teeth of like a pulsating.
I felt the AC going
That's
through
crazy.
me. Wow, 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 wow. I had such good conductivity. I was standing in a puddle of water, and I slipped up doing a meter socket downstairs on a service change. The ground connection, to the water ground.
Mm-hmm.
We were the apprentice was monkeying around with getting the old ones off. It sprung a leak. I'm like, call the water company, get them out here. It wasn't huge, but it was making a puddle right where I needed to work. And I'm just like, I'm already frustrated. We're a little bit behind now, and now I got to have the water guys out here. And I'm like, move fast, move fast, move fast, not move smart, right? And I got my hands all up in this live thing, and it just went through me. Boom, boom, boom. You could just feel the AC waves go through you. It was nuts. It's the first time ever. I mean, I've been shocked plenty of times,
Yeah.
but oof, that was tough.
phantom shocks too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're not getting shocked,
Yeah.
you think
Dude,
get hit?
that's a
There's
real
nothing
thing.
there.
That is
Yeah.
a real thing.
sometimes it's just like a zip tie touching you, and you're
yes. It makes you
freaking
aware.
out.
Yeah.
You'll be terminating in a cabinet, and you're like, I thought that whole
you're
thing
like,
was
oh.
off, and you're like testing everything.
like, yeah, and it was off. You just, yeah.
I remember doing a machine move once. This was the most unlucky thing ever. I was standing, holding an I-beam. We were throwing wires out of the trough. And there happened to be one live circuit that just tagged me on
always
my
one.
chest.
Oh,
There's
no.
always
It just get like, and it was cut perfectly. Like everything else tripped with the circ saw, not this circuit. Hits me on my chest, and I just get, ooh! I felt like somebody took.
Man.
I
Yeah.
was like, what is
right
going
to the
on?
chest. Ugh.
I just remember like my breath being taken away and everything. I'm like, I was just standing there for support, like making sure nothing, like basically when they throw the wire out and then they take it. But
Yeah, there was always one
I
or
know.
two that would still be on in those troughs when there's 1,000
Yeah.
conductors in there, and I got a good one time too. It was from my hand to my elbow, just on the trough, and I was like on my knees crawling
yep.
on the trough, and I was just like locked up then because like my weight's on it, I can't roll away.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't a bad shock or anything. It just sucked because I couldn't move. And,
Yep.
and
I got a bad one. I was running some apartments. God.
This turned into like
yeah, we're gonna get
horror
we're
stories.
gonna get
No, it was bad.
all right.
The
10
worst shock I've
for
taken.
him, 16 for you.
The worst shock I've taken. It was off of a 15 amp branch circuit, 240 15 amp, and steel studded house. And I'm up in the rafters, which are the scissors rafters, the steel ones. And I had to add a circuit. And I had my crew out doing other things. I'm like, I'll take care of this. So I got 6 guys, and they're doing stuff. And I go to this end one. No one's going to check on me. I get on my 4-foot ladder, and I'm all curled up in this metal webbing. And they fire caulked the hole. It was like an 1.25 inch hole, and there was a couple home runs going through there. And this is back when you could run 14-3 home runs. And I was jamming in there with my screwdriver to poke that caulk out of there. And I had my finger on the shaft of the screwdriver, and my cheek and my arms, I'm wrapped around the steel stud. And I'm just poking, and the next thing you know, I'm clenched up. And I can't let go. I'm on the screwdriver. I can't let go. I'm like, I can think, but I'm charged. And I'm going. It's like, 5-6 seconds go by, and I'm like, I got to do something. From waist up, I'm locked up. But my body, my legs, I just said, I'm going to jump off the ladder.
Yep.
So I jumped off the ladder, landed on the ground, got up, instantly checked my pulse. I'm like, okay, I'm alive. Went out in the parking lot just to get a breath of fresh air and went blind. Literally went blind until they took me to the hospital to get my EKG read. And I was blind for about like an hour or 2 hours. All I could see was white.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but I didn't even feel the pulses that time. That's so weird. But yeah, that was kind of stupid. You'll have
It
that.
happens. I mean, like, I was just troubleshooting a control circuit once in a box, and like, you're just tugging on the wires, like trying to find it, and you're being really, really careful. And all of a sudden, this wire just like popped out at me, catches my knuckle. I was holding the ladder over here.
They lock you up?
I got locked up top, and I just had to throw myself off the ladder
Yeah.
too. Same situation.
That's
like,
so weird how
you're just like locked in here.
You
and
can
you're-
let go.
No, you can't.
cannot let go.
Can't do anything
It's
about it.
nuts.
You're just sitting there like at
You
the
have to
mercy.
drop off of it somehow.
Yep. And I tried to like buckle my knee and slide down the ladder. Like,
It's funny because your thought process is there. You're racing. You're like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do I do? And yeah,
you can't do anything.
Yeah, you got to get yourself.
I can
out of
remember
stuff.
this one time in a car wash when I was younger. I'd asked somebody, "Hey, is all the circuits off?" Because I didn't have my kick tester on me, and he's like,
Yep.
"Well, I don't know that."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We all done it, dude.
Oh yeah.
Don't even.
Is this off? Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm in there playing around, and I'm wire nutting everything.
Yep.
Control circuit catches me.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
like, "You son of a bitch!"
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
it was not hitting me that hard, but it was
Yep.
hitting me good enough. I touched him.
oh,
I just was like, "Fuck
yeah.
you!"
You're gonna
Yeah.
share it?
So my roommate in college.
This is off, huh?
We're going through. We lived together in college, going through the apprenticeship and stuff, and we're both union guys, and he was a drinker, and I didn't really drink that much, but I was wiring in a home theater in the basement, so I got some open circuits going on. I'm watching the Saturday morning cartoons or whatever, and I can hear him get up upstairs, and he comes downstairs, and I'm barefoot in my pajamas wiring shit. I'm just doing stuff. And it's all live. I don't care. I'm just watching TV, getting stuff done. I hear him come downstairs. I'm like, cool. Our basement floor is concrete. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to get over here. And then I put my sandals on or whatever, slip those on, and I'm working on this hot circuit. And I'm holding on. I'm energized. So he comes out, I go, hey, was that a late night last night? He's like, oh, man, you have no idea. We hit up all these bars. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Well, I got my hand on the circuit, and I'm about to high-five him. He's barefoot on the concrete. And I'm ready for it. So it went right through me into him, and he's like, you bastard. He fucking took the full brunt of that thing. Yeah, I'm a dick.
Was this in your own house?
Yeah, this was while I was renting.
Okay.
I was renting.
Okay.
Yep.
I was so confused. I'm like,
Yeah, I was doing some stuff in the basement.
contractor
Yep.
did you work for
No,
that
no,
you're in
no.
your
It was my own
PJs
place.
watching cartoons
Yeah.
and wiring
Oh.
stuff up? Like,
Yeah, no, this was not a service call. It was my own place. Yep.
all right.
Okay, so let's talk about some sketchy stuff we've seen in the industry that homeowners have done or other contractors.
Oh boy, there's so many.
Extension cords.
There's so many. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go. I've said
So
enough.
there was this old guy, this lady, super sweet lady. She's like, "Oh, my husband passed away, and there's some stuff downstairs I want you to look at." I said, "Cool." I come over there. The first thing I walk in, I see right on the front porch there's an actual jelly jar, an actual Schmucker's jelly jar with a light in it, and it's working. And I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting into here. She goes down in the basement. She's like, yeah, the shower. I want to make sure it's all good. Inside the shower, there is literally a Folgers can with a socket, a keyless drilled to the top of it, and it's wired, and he's got it running as a can light. Then the switch that runs it was a Spam can, perfectly made up. Like there was no issues with it other than it's just not supposed to be there. It was done perfectly. Like in his can, he even had the like flange catchers and everything. And I'm like, dude, why not just buy the thing? It's like $11.
Because
you know?
the Spam can looks
Right.
cooler.
Yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
aesthetics at that
It
point.
was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, but it was kind of sketch. But yeah, I told her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Earl, he's very clever." I'm like, "Yeah." I kept it, took it back to the shop, showed the boys, they loved it. What do you got? You got something? Come on.
I do. I'm just trying to think of like more. I'm digging really deep in the memory bank. I mean, I've been on like home inspections where they're like, hey, there's a couple extension cords in there, and you realize like what they did is they buried an extension cord out to the garage, 100-footer.
Oh yeah.
And then like, what blows my mind is they'll take Romex, they'll buy Romex, and they'll put 2 male cord ends on it so that they don't need to go in a box.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll plug into the female,
Yeah.
and then they'll energize an outlet, and then they'll just keep jumpering
It's
around.
terrible. It's
And I'm like,
terrible.
why? You bought the Romex. Like,
Right.
why couldn't you just buy the right box?
right? Ooh, I got one. I got one that made the news actually.
Oh,
so
boy.
yeah, a buddy of mine worked as a film projectionist down at the Orpheum in Madison, and he calls me up and he's like, "Hey, I think something's going on in the mech room here. I think the service is bad. Something's going on. There's like crackling," and I'm like, "Oh my God, you know, that's a big facility, and not to mention it's in the historical district. So like, okay, I'll come take a look. It seems like he's like, this is emergency." I said, okay. I come down there, and it's just a friend of a friend type thing. So I get in there and I look at it. I call the maintenance guy. He lets me in. I look at it, and it's a 600 amp service, old knife switches, right? After years and years of just being knifed, they've expanded, and I open the door. You know how you can open the door without. So I open the door and I look at it, and they're just arcing. They're just literally, you could just feel the heat. And it's just arcing, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, this is not good. This needs to be changed ASAP. He's like, yeah, I kind of thought so. It smells warm. I know it's like smells like electrical lightning and just hot. And I'm like, okay, well, and I wrote an email, called the guy, said this needs to be done ASAP. He says, nah, we're good. I am not kidding you. Like a couple weeks later, I wake up to news at 9 in the morning or whatever it was. The Orpheum has caught fire and it was not burned down completely, but burned last night. And I'm like, oh my God. So I get on the phone call, and they don't know what caused it. Months later, it was an arson. But the guy did go in there and redo his entire service because of it, because he got nailed by the people that came through and looked at it and said, what was the cause? He's like, well, you're lucky because this would have been the next thing. So yeah.
You couldn't just put your channel locks on there and like
I,
turn them off for the
you know, I
time
didn't
being,
like.
or-
I wasn't there contracted. I was
Yeah.
there by the film projectionist, and I was there to just kind of analyze and look at it. I wasn't to put my hands.
Yeah,
on it.
like you
because
have
if I
tools
put my
with you,
hands
you're
on
just
it,
there to be like,
yeah,
that's-
this needs to be taken care of now. If I put my hands on it now, it's my fault if anything happens.
true.
So, but yeah, I told him right away, and but
That's a fine line though too, because it's like
they had 2 incidences like that in that building. You believe that? It's nuts.
you see that stuff and it's like, okay, if I touch it, I can make it worse, but you know it's about like, what do you?
Yeah, right. I know I
do?
could have made it better by just clamping them together. But then at that point, what do? Change the gear out, or have that guy yell at you
Like
for
in an
touching
emergency
stuff?
situation,
Right.
like when you should do something because it is literally about to start a fire.
Well, it's like
You
yeah,
know,
if
and
someone
maybe not
breaks
as
their
much
neck
in
and
that,
falls
but
down and
there's
they're
times that
unconscious and you want to help them and you find out you just broke their neck, then it's your fault type thing. You gotta like
there's laws to protect.
it
You
out.
know, they should make electrical ones.
they
Like
should-
if you were trying to stop the fire,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Get it burned down. It's not on you.
Right.
I got one that just I remembered. This laser hair removal company. I'm not gonna like name drop any, but
I know.
I got called out because like the circuit kept tripping for their brand new install they had done. And I was like, well, when did this happen? They're like, oh, we just had a contractor come in overnight and do it. And I was like, okay, awesome. And this is going to be easy to look at. I pop my head in the ceiling and I see number 6s just floated like THHN
yeah.
all the way across the ceiling grid and down the metal stud cavity and
Great.
into this box. And I take my tick tester because the circuit's back on and I touch the metal stud and I start going along it.
Oh,
It's
God.
cut into the metal stud and the whole thing is energized.
Of course.
And they're intermittently tripping because it's like cut into the wire and it's causing so much ampacity to go.
God.
And I was like,
Well, yeah, it's overload.
and I'm like, how many other rooms did you guys have this remodel happen in?
the whole building.
And they did.
No way.
I swear to God.
Stop.
So I popped my head. THHN 12s to the other outlets
Everywhere.
just ran
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Just
They didn't
fire
run
it.
any sort of Romex. MC in this scenario,
Yep.
nothing. Just
Yep.
free aired wires
Oof.
everywhere.
Yeah. Oh,
And I was like,
that's scary to look at.
you
get some
whoever did this like needs to never ever touch anything again, and
those-
you need to immediately replace all of this.
that
get
would be
those.
like one of those one-stop shop.
Yeah, it
remodels.
was.
Like they will do everything. They do the
Oh, yeah.
flooring, the
Yep.
electrical.
Yeah, we
That's
got
exactly-
this. We do
And
the
they
flooring
don't pull
and
any
electrical.
permits or
No, it was at night. I asked them because I was even talking to the city. I'm like, well, did you like have a permit for this?
No.
And they're like, oh no.
No.
They just we hired this
We do
person. They
windows
just came
and
and did everything.
doors
Yeah,
and
like
electrical.
I could not believe I've never seen anything to like that scale. Like you'll see it from homeowners. I've seen it for like hot tubs irks me because they'll like free air it out of their panel. They'll
yeah.
buy THHN and they'll just free air it to their hot tub. And
Yeah.
then they'll put it
Run
in the
no
seal
disconnect,
tight.
just throw it out. Yep.
Just straight in the breaker,
Oh,
no
God.
GFCI breaker.
Yep.
That stuff is so sketchy.
It is because you can literally just cook and die.
Yeah. There's nothing protecting you. It just gets
Yeah.
what else? What other things we got?
Go to that one. I want to tell you the story about these.
Which
deer
one?
heads.
Just pick one. Just tell me something.
What
Let's
is
go-
the craziest thing a homeowner or business? Whatever. So I got this guy. He wants to start working with me. I said, "Come on in. Let's go." I sent him to a job, and he's proficient. He's doing work. He's doing good stuff. I get a call from the builder. The builder says, "Hey, Chris, how you doing?" I go, "Good." And he's like, "New guy seems to know what he's doing." I'm like, "Yeah, but there's something we got to talk about." I said, "Well, what's going on?" He goes, "There's a puddle of blood on the back of your service truck and on the driveway of the customer." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to ask him because it's kind of like that." And I'm like, "Oh God, I'm just an electrician. I don't need this stuff." Sometimes it's just like I don't want that stuff right now. But I had to deal with it, so I give the guy a call and I said, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And he's like, "Nothing. I got that job done. Everything's good." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, can you swing by and we'll talk about stuff?" He says, "No problem." We get in, and he comes to me the next morning, real super early, and we meet about his next job assignments. And he says, "Hey, do you like venison. I said, sure. I'm like, oh boy, what's going on? He goes, well, I have I pull over anytime I see roadkill. I pull over and I grab the Sawzall and I cut these deer heads off. I collect them and I make the skulls into like, he mounts the skulls.
Like a
and dips it.
European?
Yeah, like he'll dip them in these things where you can put the American flag on it or some kind of weird thing on it, and then he'll mount it and he sells them for like $300-400 because they look cool. But he brought me some venison from that, and I'm like, great, I love venison because I can't really lie too well. So it's like this porridge and it's gray, and I'm like, whatever. But this guy is cutting off deer heads, throwing them in the truck, going to the service call, and then, hey, Mary, we'll change your outlets and stuff. And here is a puddle of blood leaking out of the back of your service truck. What? And you're using the Sawzalls and stuff to do this? Bro, what is going on? I thought that was just whack. That's whack. No one can beat that one.
There's a lot wrong
No one
with
can
what
beat
you
that
just
one. Yeah.
said. Like,
There's a what?
you can't just take a deer head from roadkill.
He was doing that.
I know, but he's
Yeah, I get it.
not gonna, I don't know.
No, I know. That's one of the craziest stories I have.
And then selling them.
Oh yeah,
which is also,
Oh yeah,
like-
oh yeah. I mean, well, besides all the legalities of it, just the morality of it. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, please don't. I said, can you do that on your own time and not the company van? He's like, oh yeah, I didn't think you'd mind. I'm like, yeah,
Well, you were wrong.
yeah. So,
Who was the one that had a turkey in the back? A van.
see, I knew
Was
this.
that John?
No, it wasn't John.
See, I knew there was some kind of weird stuff.
Somebody
there, too.
hit a turkey. They threw it in the back and it came.
I thought that was I think he's dead now. I think it was Fritzy.
There was somebody at our old
It
company.
was the
that
same
did
guy who hit a cow.
that. I don't know.
We always, that was the craziest thing.
Hit a
like,
cow?
Total the truck.
Oh my
From
god!
hitting
How do you
a cow.
explain that?
Yeah. I'm like, well, he's like, well, it jumped out of nowhere. I'm like,
It
fucking
jumped-
cows don't jump out
Cows
of
don't
nowhere.
jump out of nowhere, dude.
That's a really big thing to hit.
He jumped out of nowhere.
But I'm pretty sure it was him who also hit a turkey.
Yeah,
and
like
had it in the back.
it woke up. Like it was just out cold.
Oh,
and
that
it
might-
woke, yeah,
that
somebody,
might have been.
it woke back up
Like
and was
Tommy
like,
Boy
started
with the deer
going
in the
nuts
back of the car?
in the van. And I don't think they had a bulkhead in the van, so it was like
Oh man.
coming up by him and he's trying to drive with a turkey attacking him. And
That's
I feel like I remember this story from John. Yeah.
yeah.
How about those
have to
homeowners
ask
that
him.
don't tell you anything? You come, they're like, this doesn't work over here. And you're like, okay, did you recently change any devices? Oh, no, none of that. Did you nail anything to the wall? Like hang a picture or do anything like that? No. Okay. So 2 hours after diagnosing all this, you find the one outlet that they were changing out where they didn't break the tab.
Yep.
And then the nail in the wall where they hung the new photo. And then you have to tell them.
Yep.
Hey, remember when I talked to you earlier today about this? Well, someone put a nail through this in the picture that's recently hung, and this outlet here has been changed. Oh, yeah, my husband did that like 2 days ago. Oh, okay.
Yeah. that's
Well,
when the
you could have
problems
saved
started happening.
you could have saved yourself about 2 hours if you would have just told me that. These people.
I can remember this one troubleshooting call that I went on to help somebody with, and they had already been on it for a couple hours. And I got there,
Those are
and I
tough.
immediately asked the homeowner, I was like, is there anything behind that couch you're sitting on? And they're like, no, because it's like a little 3-foot wall. And I'm like, but it's old enough that I'm like, code didn't require it.
Yeah.
And I kept asking him repeatedly.
Are you sure?
And I'm tracing everywhere. And this was like a really weird house because it's like 3 different electricians came into this house.
Oh, boy.
Because the back wall was fed like just the back wall. It didn't feed any of the rooms.
Okay.
And then your interior walls, except for the ones touching the hallway, were fed from the lights. But the light switch that was next to the outlet by the hallway was not fed from, or that outlet wasn't fed from that light
There's
switch.
3 different kinds.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
It was like
Yep.
you're like,
Okay.
who got in here and what apprentice decided to like? You put James over here,
It's a
Steven
training-
here,
yep,
and like.
it's the training ground for all 3.
So I'm already having a difficult time figuring out where the power is even coming from.
Chasing
And
ghosts.
finally, it's like 9:30 at night. They're getting anxious, and they're like, "Is this gonna take you forever?" I'm like, "Get off the couch and move." that outlet right
yeah,
there. And I was
yeah,
like,
yep.
you got to be kidding me. It was a 6-hour service call of troubleshooting. And then they were like frustrated. Well, why didn't you make us move sooner? I'm like,
my God.
I was here for 3 hours and I asked you at least 8 times if you're sure there's no outlet behind there. And then I had to be like, respectfully, I need you to get off the couch now. Like, I need to check because frankly, I truly believe it's over there.
Yep.
And it was right there.
Service calls are the best. When it's like they try to hide what they've done. And I don't get it. Like, you called me, man.
I think one of the funniest things that ever happened to me, like maybe not funniest, but a super interesting thing was this lady, her son was in the 1-year program, but he was 3 weeks into it. So she was like, hey, I want you to replace every outlet and everything in my house.
I got this.
I walk into this 4,000 square foot mansion. I'm not exaggerating. Every single device was gone and all wires were just sticking out.
Oh, no.
And I'm like,
oh, no.
What am I walking into?
Yeah, dude.
And it took 3 of us about a week to just take care of that entire situation.
Unwired it?
Unwired everything. Wires just sticking out. There's like 6 gang boxes and there's like 4-way switching between the foyer and like different areas.
That's brutal.
It was, and they were like sitting there like at their watches like, how long is this gonna take you? I'm like, you need to lay the hell off, woman. Like,
how long did it take him to take it out? Multiply that by 10.
Yeah. Right. And then there was another situation where somebody kind of same circumstance. Their son replaced every single outlet, but they were like switched outlets. So all of a sudden, and for some reason, they had separate. They used a multi-wire branch circuit for it. So as soon as they turned on the breaker,
it'd be a switch.
No. They actually, that's what was
they
weird.
did. They had 2 circuits per. Oh my god.
Yeah. So they were like dual
Was it in
functioning.
the kitchen?
No, it was through a whole bedroom.
That is so
And
weird.
when they would turn on the breaker, it would trip right away because it's phase to phase.
Fucking phases.
And it took me forever to try and figure it out because I'm like, what happened here?
You know, sometimes if you take that breaker and move it down one spot, it'll hold.
Well, yeah, because you're on the same phase.
They're on 2 different, or they're on the same.
Ask me how I know.
Leg. Yeah.
Ask me how I know.
Well, it seems like we're kind of running out of time. We could probably go on for stories forever.
We could.
So
we could.
Thanks for listening in. This is the Here For You podcast, and stay bright.